All right. Welcome everybody to this episode of Tea and Chi with the magnificent Beau Bowker, the king of breathwork. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about the air element and breathwork and utilizing the power of the breath. So for everyone who hasn't met Beau yet, Beau, who are you and what is what you do in terms of working with the air element?
All right, it's so funny. The more I sort of go deeper into consciousness and things like that, that who are you becomes like an even more loaded question. I feel like I'm like nothing. I don't know. Who have I been? So I'm Beau Bowker. Thank you, brother, for having me. First of all, yeah, I'm so honored and stoked to be here. And my name is Beau. I've been a lot of things and done a lot of things. Stand-up comedian and actor and comedic writer and law school student and all those sorts of things all over the place. I'm a father of twins and a husband to my incredible wife, who's also been on the show, Cassidy. And in the last couple years, the last year really, like I just really took off on my spiritual journey, like you're always on the spiritual journey, you know? And so, yeah, but I kicked it up a couple notches and it really elevated when I went to Sacred Sons. And then at that moment, I knew that something came up in me and I knew that I needed to start facilitating breath work. And so I studied with David Elliot. I would call him, you know, the godfather, the grand master of breathwork. For me, at least, he's definitely one of my greatest teachers. And it's the pranayama breathwork that I predominantly work with. There's so many different types now, and have been, I suppose, but in, you know, popular culture right now. But yeah, so I work with the breath as medicine. And very simply, it's a heart opener, you know, and that's the way that I use the element of air. Yeah. What else do you want to know about it, Owen?
Yeah. So just by the way, I am drinking Tribe Skincare's lung tonic tea. So I changed up my tea from this morning and got a whole new batch going so I could incorporate the air element.
Beautiful.
Yeah, for in terms of what I perceive as Beau, or what Beau is to me, is we first connected for a breathwork session on my birthday, I believe it was.
That was one of the ones that we did, but that wasn't the first one that we did.
That was the second time. Okay, yeah. So we connected for a breathwork session, and that's why I did the big introduction for Beau, because I've done many types of meditation, and all of them incorporate the breath. Obviously, all aspects of life as a human and include the breath. And Beau facilitates an ancient practice of pranayama, which comes from Hinduism and yoga and their meditations, in a way that is really, really potent healing medicine. And I felt so much gratitude overflowing, and so much healing and so much inspiration. Really, it's the power of the air element. And to relate it to Qigong and a Chinese medicine perspective, the lungs are literally your inspiration. So they consider air and metal to be the same element. And your lungs have this capability and the positive spectrum to inspire you and bring realizations and inspiration to your being. Literally, inspiration and inspiration is the same word for breath. And then you have on the negative side, shallow breathing or any type of lung problems in Chinese medicine and Qigong perspective comes from lack of self-worth. So the positive side is inspiration, which leads to self-worth, which leads to valuing others as well. And then you have the negative side of the breath, which is sort of shallow or harmful or smoky breath that has this sort of doesn't value others, doesn't value self, goes through a lot of grief. So in working with breath work, especially in connection with Beau's guidance, it's really been that next level step for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people who have worked with you, is that next step in really finding inspiration and self-worth and worth of your life in general. It was my experience from your personal guidance of breath work. So what do you think, how has your personal life changed through the element of air and through utilizing that element in your breathwork practice and teaching breathwork?
Oh man, like it's amazing because like just you speaking that question makes me emotional. Like, you know, the way I love hearing this about Qigong. Like it's something that I've always felt so naturally attracted to. But I've never studied it, you know, and so one of the reasons why I'm grateful to be here with you, and I do look forward to learning more from you in the future through your offerings and service, because it is so powerful. And yeah, the way that I've always or long looked at the breath as I've begun this practice is breath is spirit to me, you know. And it's taught me that as long as you have breath, the ability to breathe, like there's hope, right? Like you can change your life with the breath at any moment. As long as you have connection with your breath, you have that opportunity to, again, yeah, breathe spirit open is what I call it. Breathing spirit open, you know, within you and opening your heart. And that's what it does. That's what it's done for me. And that's what my intention is with my clients, is let's do it, man. Like, let's go inward. Like, let's open it up. Let's stop looking outside at all of the things that we can say are affecting us or causing us to react, and let it all go, because it's all BS, really. You know, I mean, when you come back to the heart and, you know, with the breath, and the breath is just one modality. You know what I mean? There's so many, and yeah, but when we do this with the breath, like it works with. I find so much of the work happening in the lower chakras, right? Like it's loosening up our sacral chakra, and it's you know, that fire is building in the third chakra, right, in our solar plexus. Like I've felt that come alive, you know, as far as what my experience has been, like personal experience. When I first started breath work, even when I was practicing quite frequently, every single time, even by the time that I went to my training, so I was like in it, fully committed to it, what would happen to me is I call it lobster boy. I would turn into lobster boy. And like, because I would get what's called tetany, and like literally like I would be like this, and like during the breath work, to the point where like I would have to pull myself out of the breath. And we can go into a little bit of the breath work at some point if you want, just to give a little demonstration something for folks to use. But yeah, so like I would go like this, and so I'd have to pull myself out because it literally felt like my wrists were going to snap, like that my body couldn't handle it. And it's so funny because my expectation in going and doing the training with David Elliot was, all right, yes, I'm going to learn a deeper practice of being able to hold space for folks and facilitate the breath work, but also like I was ready to heal, and I knew that whatever this was it was me holding on to something is what I came to understand. And so, but I was like, all right, well, David Elliott's going to be able to help me with this. He probably sees this all the time. And then I was breathing, and he's kind of walking around. And he's like, oh, he does not see this level of it like all the time. And so I'm like breathing. I'm like, oh shit, man. Like even David Elliott's freaked out by this. And so through that week, as I was there, and he worked with me personally, which was such a blessing. And it was all this trauma, that was locked inside of me. And look, our hands are, I don't know the technical understanding of it from the chakras. So tell me if you know anything different, but I understand through my experience the hands to be kind of a combination of the heart and the throat, because we extend love with our hands, we communicate love with our hands, is part of the way that I look at it. And when you have this tetany going on, as I did every single time, it's a frustration in feeling unable to communicate. And it's a holding back, and it's a holding on to trauma and things like that. And so one day, and this was a couple of days after I'd worked one-on-one with David, I had a deep healing session through the breath work, and one of my friends was holding space, and I felt it all in my solar plexus. And it was all of the men in my lineage, in my life, that I've known and beyond, ancestral. All of the shame that they've ever felt, all of that lack of self-worth, all of that lack of enoughness, right? Which goes back to you talking about that air element, right? And what's present in that and in the metal, and just I felt their shame, and I had such compassion for them, and knowing too that it's been passed down from generation to generation of males, in my lineage, and I just brought love to it, right, through the breath. And all of a sudden, not trying or anything like that, I went from lobster boy to just my arms were just all of a sudden opening, and I felt myself and saw myself as this golden eagle character,
I was gonna say you became Eagle Man.
You're damn right I did.
To do that.
Yeah, man. And I felt it, I saw it, it was all there. And it was and I literally, as I was breathing, I was just doing that. And it wasn't I'm gonna start flapping around like a bird. It was just happening, dude. It was just present and happening and flowing. And it was so powerful, so empowering. And it was just all yellow and orange and pink and green and incredible. And since then I've never clawed up again, right? And then months later I sit with you for an Akashic record reading, and the first thing when you come to me is, yeah, there's a golden eagle here. And I was like, you're damn right there. And I started crying because it was just this it was like this, and I've talked about it, on my Instagram and things like that, like the power and the potency of your gifts, and what a gift it has been for me, your reading, your channeling of all this, the way you do so beautifully. And oh man, like it just became, when you told me that and took me through that experience, it was like just a deeper rooting into who and what I am, and so it's so incredible. Like when you talk about sort of the shadow side of the air element, right? And how it can function with the shallow breath and things like that. And then the light side of it, it's like, oh, I've lived all of it. I felt all of it, like, that lack of self-worth and confidence and all of that. And then I've transmuted it and released what I needed to. And yeah, and I've done it predominantly through the breath,
Appreciate that so much, that all of those messages and sharing so much of what this practice means to you. And that's exactly what the works and the messages and the feelings and the magic that flows through me, that's my intention, is to, through oracular readings, through the oracle arts, help people see more of themselves, whether it's dark side, light side, in between, is for whatever reason I've been given a special gift, or I've attained a special gift, and that's my gift. And then breath work is your gift that you offer, and it's an infinite gift. And you asked about the hands. The one thing I do know is that there's all your meridians, they're called in Qigong and Chinese medicine. A lot of them empty out of the hands. And what was going on when you were lobster boy with your thumbs? Was there something going on with your thumbs?
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since lobster boy reared his claws. The thumbs were pretty much fine. I feel like they were like out like this. They were safe. Once in a while, actually, no, yeah. Once in a while, they would tuck in like that, and then would get crushed underneath the rest of the fingers.
Yeah. So the thumbs are where the lungs, the air element and the metal element, which is considered the same, comes from thumbs. So that's like, you'll see if somebody wins an Olympic gold medal, they'll do thumbs up. Or if somebody really appreciates you, they'll give you a thumbs up. It's because they're valuing. It's high self-worth and inspired, inspirational. So when you come into that opening, that leads me to such a beautiful topic that I had no plans of talking about, or even haven't really thought of for a while, but our energetic spiritual wings in our life, the lungs on the backside of our body are those wings. And the more we feel self-worth and inspiration, the more we have wind under our wings. So when we have that great air element in our body, that great freedom also felt in our emotional body, then we can have that opening sensation, and we can shamanically go into a form, whether you connect with a certain bird spirit like an eagle or owl, or you connect with some sort of mythical internal totem animal like a dragon or a phoenix, whatever that animal is for you, your wings open with that power animal or totem animal, as Native American elders taught me. So when you work with the breath, you have like this gunk, right? And all of that gunk really is just other people's shit and other people's baggage. Right. So you being the person that you are, and you're a helpful person, and you are a selfless person from what I know you to be, there's like all this baggage, right? Like, oh, I'm holding on to people's shit that people have given me. And like, oh. And then when you let all that go, you can fly. When you let all that go, you can really soar to your heights of your potential, of your inspiration and your self-worth. And that has been something that has really been my experience with breath work and working with the air element, is healing the wings, healing these energetic wings that go from your shoulder blades outwards. And you can get that tightness in your shoulders, in your sides, and sometimes in your pecs, is like the wings, like, oh, I feel like I don't feel free. I don't feel free, so I can't like fly. I can't be the highest potential of who I am. And the last thing I'll say about that is that we can't have any attachments if we want to reach the highest height of our potential. And we certainly can't be intimately going one-on-one to somebody in their shit, right? In their baggage. We can't carry anyone's baggage for them. We can't carry anyone's karma for them. So if you really, truly, whatever your profession is, whatever your gift or your art is, you need that freedom, that opening, that self-worth, that inspiration that takes you up, rather than being on the ground level where it's dangerous and people can smack you upside the head, they can clip your wings, they can throw their BS at you. Really going beyond that is what I perceive as the ultimate potential of the healing of the lungs and the healing of the air element within us, is opening up to that freedom, opening up to that inspiration, and channeling that energy, that air element that's like the wind under our wings, the wind under the sails of our relationships and our friendships and our mentorships, is really what drives us forward into a higher sense of self-worth, which can improve your finances, it can improve your energetic life, it can improve your relationships. All of that improves with self-worth, but we have to let go of the gunk and the baggage that we carry before we can do any of that, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's so beautifully said. And I've never put that together in that way with that imagery, and I love it. Like, yeah, of spreading the wings, and you're so right about what happens. It happens I see it in so many clients, and I've seen it in myself too, where you start to pinch, because that's what's going to happen with the breath work too. When we start the breathing, it's like, yeah, we're going to open up the heart. Absolutely. That's going to be happening. And at the same time, what this energy that we're unleashing in our body and stoking in our body is going to do is it's going to go anywhere where there is trauma, anywhere that your highest self is calling for healing, right? Like it's like your high self is like watching, like hanging over your body and being like, yeah, let's go there. We need some work over here. Right. And it's going to manifest in pain or discomfort or resistance or whatever. Right. And I mean, that's what this was, right, for me. And I've seen it. I mean, I've seen a lot of things, crop up, and it's always so interesting, because it's always, that the body is like it's like a map for emotion and for it's back here. All right, let's look at what we've locked in, what's locked into there. What's happening back here that's causing resistance. And how I've understood it and seen it, the reason why it's manifesting there is like you said, it's the wings, it's those shoulder blades that we use as a shield to block the back of the heart, right? And it is, you're right, like it's the lungs too, because the ego, that shadow self, it will find every excuse or reason to not do it, to not keep breathing, right? Like to resist and say, I think that's enough. Like I do it when I breathe by myself, when nobody's holding space for me. I'll hit like an emotional, or like breakthrough or something, or an epiphany or something will come through, and I'll be like, all right, like I think that's good. I think I got the medicine I needed, and it's like, and then I'll, now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, that's the ego. Like just sit in it a little bit longer. And then like one song later, because we'll breathe to like a playlist that I've curated. One song later, it's like, oh God, like, and I'm just like crying, and like, it's like this next level. And so I'm able to recognize that, oh, that was resistance. That was the ego saying, don't look any deeper. Don't go any further. Don't dig into that, because you don't want to heal that. We don't want you to heal that. Right. Like, and look, as you said too, it's all stuff that we've taken on. It's been passed down to us, either, typically unintentionally, right? Like, and sometimes intentionally, unfortunately, like that trauma is inflicted upon us. Those stories, those judgments that others have about us, right? We wear them and we lock them into our body. And then when we do the breath work, they show up, right? And because they are resistance to love. And when we bring that love energy to it, it's gonna fight back. And then it can't win. It can never win. Like, and that's the beauty of it, is that number one, you're gonna get through it. People are so resistant oftentimes to doing this work. And like I said, they'll find the excuses not to do it, right? Or the reasons, whatever, not to do it. And part of it is just, it's the ego, and it's that being scared of like, ooh, that's gonna hurt. I don't want to look at that. That's gonna, ooh, I'm not ready. And you're always, that's the second part, is you're always in choice. You're in choice. You're your own healer, and you are in choice in taking on that gunk and that BS that you're talking about. Like, we don't have to, whether people have passed it on to us when we were little kids or through, traumatic experiences, we are now in choice. We were always in choice, but now we're really in choice. Where we get to, now that we're older and things like that, where we get to say, oh yeah, that's not mine. That's your shit. Like, I don't have to own that. I don't have to think that or feel that about myself anymore. And the second I decide to bring love to it, it starts to fade, and it can't win.
That message you had about that resistance phase immediately made me think of an experience I had with Darren Silver, who is a facilitator of Navajo medicine and has worked with so many indigenous elders in Native America so closely. And he facilitated a sweat lodge, which I actually did with your nephew, Tyler Dunn.
Yeah.
Darren Silver led this sweat lodge, traditional Native American sweat lodge at Sacred Sons. And so I love saunas and I love intense extremes. And so I was, oh yeah, I'll go into this. This will be fine. My first sweat lodge. Yeah, it's breath work. It's all that stuff. I've done that. Okay. And then, so we got the chanting going, the drums, and the rocks are steaming and the heat goes wild. And I'm just sitting there drenched. And okay, round one of chanting, done. Halfway through round two, I look at Darren Silver. I'm like, can I leave the sweat lodge to get some water? Which is basically my ego, just, oh, it's hot, oh, this blah blah blah, right. Uncomfortable. And really, it was mainly because my body was uncomfortable. It was like there was that resistance you're talking about, that trauma in my hips, in my body is going, it's uncomfortable to just sit in my body with this intense heat and breath work. And he said the best thing he could have ever told me. He said, "We have some water right here if you'd like some." And I was like, okay, yeah, bring it over here. I poured some on my head, drank some, and continued with each round as it was meant to be. And oh my goodness, what was released was all this air element stuff. It was all of these subtle emotions, subtle ideas, subtle traumas, even genetic traumas of not being free, not being allowed to even be a free person in society, in life. And after breathing through all of that, after literally shamanically breathing it out, and that's the thing, until you go that deep, you don't really know the power of the breath.
Right.
Someone like yourself and myself, and maybe some people watching, have gone that deep with breath and realized that it is shamanic. It is, you will breathe out, literally breathe out trauma and become a freer, more enlightened, because there's more light being brought to you, who you are being. I walked out of that sweat lodge without doing any of the ego dropout that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I walked out naked into the sunshine, just went right in the ice cold pool, and just so free emotionally, literally felt completely free, not a care in the entire world about and what anyone thinks, what anyone feels about the ego, right? About who this Owen is. And it was so liberating to experience that form of shamanic breathwork experience, and had really similar experience with working with you in breathwork. It's just you hit that point of like, oh gosh, here it is here's the blockage. And when you breathe past that, it's like, oh, I love everyone so much. There's so much love and value flowing out of your being, and everything is art at that point. You look around you, everything is beautiful. How could I not value it? How could I not love it?
Yeah.
So in that regard, I would love to hear about what breath work and the element of air has done for you in terms of relating it to freedom and sovereignty, and what that itself means to you.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that element of freedom back, because that's like the biggest, right? Like, I mean, so I had an experience not too long ago. It's one of those things too, where like, you know, you're going along this healing journey, and you're like, I think I did all the things. Like, I think I healed X, Y, and Z that I knew were my things. And then you get to hit another level where you're like, oh no, what is this? I thought I dealt with this. And then it's like, oh no, here we go. And it's beautiful, because it's just like, at first you're like, for me, I'll say, like, I get into that place of like, oh man, like I feel like defeated. Like, again, that ego, and that like, oh, you thought you were so great. You thought, you know, but turns out you're not enough. Like, and it's like, wait, all right, settle down. Like, let me heal, let me work through this now. And so what that was like for me was, I came to this place where my wife and I recently, we facilitated an immersion course with Keith's Cacao, and it was on like love in the spiritual relationship. And so I've had plenty of healing to do around that, right? And what was coming through, we were drinking cacao and doing breath work for like our final like closing ceremony, right? And even though I was facilitating it, I was going through the daily practices. And what was coming through for me was this image again of the golden eagle, myself as the golden eagle. And I was carrying these buckets of water in my talons. and the buckets of water, the water was love, right? It was love, and it was connection with spirit, and I felt so burdened, and I understood that this burden came from my childhood. At least in this lifetime, that's where where it popped up, was like this feeling of responsibility that I had of making sure everyone felt loved, that everyone was getting everything that they needed, that everyone knew that they were light and that they were God itself, right? Like, and so it was this heavy burden that I realized that I never understood until this moment during this breath work and cacao ceremony, where I was holding on to this and I was trying to carry all of this love to everyone. And I've been doing it in my practice, with the breath work too, in facilitating it at times with clients, where it's like, come on, take this, please take this, and it was this incredible shift in me as I realized I could let it go, that it is not my responsibility for anyone to feel love. And it comes from this faith too, of understanding that, nope, you are right where you're meant to be. Dad, you're right where you're meant to be. I can't make you feel loved, but I can tell you about it. Like, and I went from this character called like carrier, to this the golden eagle's name was Beacon. And it was allowing myself to no longer be a carrier, but to be a beacon. And I can call people and I can serve people so much better by offering this lake. It's not just a bucket, it's a freaking lake. And you can come and drink from it anytime you're ready. And you can bathe in it, and you can be in it, and you can understand that it is you. It is your essence that you are coming and drinking of. And as I released these buckets and became this beacon, just light. It was like a beacon of light just shooting from every part of me. And I felt so free once again. And as I said, is another level of freedom. And it was about exactly what you're talking about, letting go of these old stories, these things that I've taken on, these things that are not mine, these things that were passed along, and that do not serve me and do not serve my ability to serve. And that's the thing, one of the things that is the intention behind the breath work with my clients too, is exactly what you're talking about. You can be free. Like, you don't need this. Whatever you've taken on, like, you don't need it. And the more that heart opens, like, the more you understand it and feel it and just set it free, let it go. Like, what are you holding on to? And how long do you want to hold on to it? Because again, you're in choice.
Yeah, and not even just the negative holding on to, as you explained really vividly, that a lot of that which was holding you down was considered what we would consider good emotion, good intention. So
right.
Not only does attachments to people's drama and people's stories and people's negativity, but also attachment to the ideas or the opinions surrounding love and relationship, whatever relationship that is what can pull us down. And some of the most good intentioned loved ones in our life might be the ones that created a metaphysical chain pulling you on you.
Yeah.
And you can't let people like bind you. You can't, even if it's like, I love you or I hate you, it's the same chains. Yep. So you have to really as Buddhism shares, release all attachments.
Exactly.
Not
Attachment is
not
attachment.
even
Yeah.
attachment. Because love, as my Reiki master and shaman taught me, is love is free flowing. If the love isn't free, it's not love. It's something else. But if it's not free, if it's not open, then it's some sort of in between state, and it's not really what true love or true connection or magnetism is. And when you're up there, when you're up in the sky of freedom, the element of air, and you're feeling worthy, people will try to shoot you down. Like, people will try to shoot you down and try to lure you down. Sometimes go, oh yeah, but you come back down to earth, come back down to earth. But sometimes that's because they're jealous. Like, really genuinely, to put this into a more practical sort of Western mind sort of thing, rather than being so poetic. When you're really, really happy and you're really feeling free, somebody, hypothetically, will often try to bring you down, even if they don't say that, even if they don't sound like it because they're politically correct. So often people will try to bring you down, and it might seem like it's good intention,
Right.
but if you have that envy, if somebody has that envy, if you see somebody flying, high on life, completely sober, just completely high on life, and they go, oh, I can't do that. Oh, and then their self-worth comes in. Right. That's the type of people who throw rocks, try to make chains, try to beat you up on the ground, and try to clip your wings because they're jealous. But in reality, what breathwork is it's, yeah, I'm flying, I'm up here, so spread your wings and we'll get you off that rock and dive back into a higher version of reality. And with that being said, I'd love to share something that my Qigong master, TJ Frank, shared me, and it's just a brief part of the lung element healing Qigong, which has been really profound for me, and it's Great White Crane Qigong. And then following that, we can, if you'd like, Beau, just go into a little bit of breath work from Beau for a few minutes, or however long you want to do that.
I would love that. Yeah. I'm excited.
Cool. So ideally, I'm going to tag TJ down below so everyone can do the full practice and really learn the full practice. But for anyone who just wants a really brief, practical way of healing the lungs and healing their self-worth, I'm just going to teach you little tidbits of it. So you begin by letting your wings down. You let your shoulders down. You close your eyes and you breathe into the sensation of being present, hovering over a beautiful lake. And there's great white cranes, perfectly balanced all around the lake. You fly up to these cranes, stand with them, and if you'd like, even become emotionally like the great white crane. Take your hands now to the level of your lungs. Imagine your hands like wings. And start to cycle and churn up any lower emotions, any lower self-worth, any gunk that's in there that you want to release. Working with the breath, breathing in and kind of grabbing hold of that gunk. When you feel that coming up, then you could and have a forceful out breath while simultaneously pushing out your hands, palms upwards. So you churning up all that gunk, especially if you've been a smoker in the past, getting all that gray stuck chi, that low self-worth. Big inhale, giving outwards. And as you clear space, the next part, and preferably you do this standing because it's really a lot more crane-like and beautiful standing. But since we're all sitting down, the earth element builds the lungs. Earth element is trust and foundation, and it's the space in which the bird takes flight and becomes free. So you go and do a scooping into beautiful yin energy of Mother Earth. You scoop that energy, feel that, literally feel all of what Mother Earth means to you. And you lift your hands up, then push them down and deposit that earth element into your lungs to build metal and air element. So inhale and scoop up and in. And fill both lungs. Beautiful yin chi of earth. Breathing in all feelings of good, positive self-worth. Foundational, trusting energies of Mother Earth. And that's a brief, very brief portion of very practical, very useful medicine in Great White Crane Qigong.
Thank you. I love that. That's powerful. When I did the out breath, it was like this, it was like that burst of sweat. You know what I mean? Like it's like that burst of like release, and you can feel that energetic release and that gunky release. Thank you, brother.
All right, and when we're all ready, we can take Beau's lead now and do a little bit of breath work.
All right. Yeah, it doesn't take much to get it flowing, you know. So again, this is the pranayama breath work. We can begin by placing our left hand right in the center of your heart space, right? With that receiving hand, knowing that we are receiving all of the love that is being generated from that heart space. And with our right hand, we can place that just below your belly button. The knuckle of your pointer finger can rest just below the belly button. And let that thumb of your right hand almost make a crescent over the belly button. So we're accessing with this hand of service, this hand of giving on the right hand. We're accessing and giving more of this energy, this love frequency that's being generated with the breath from the heart. We're giving it to that sacral chakra and the solar plexus chakra, that especially in this time on this planet really calls for more and more love and flow. So much of that gunk that Owen's talking about gets locked up in these areas. And so the pranayama breath is 3 parts. Each part will be with the mouth, because again, we're going into the heart. We're opening the heart. The nasal breath has more of a tendency to bring us up into the mind, up into those higher chakras. And so this is our opportunity to allow the mind to rest a little bit and melt down into the heart space. And so the first part of the breath is going to be in through the mouth, and it's going to fill up the belly. Second part fills up the chest, and the third part releases through the mouth. Keep on with that breath, filling up the belly, filling up the chest, releasing through the mouth. Each breath is full, but it is not forced. It doesn't have to be completely full to capacity in our belly or our chest, and it does not need to be completely exhaustive through the mouth, but let each breath, each segment of the breath be full. You may already be feeling some tingling, some lightheadedness. Understand that this is that love frequency starting to flow, starting to vibrate, starting to matriculate through your chakras. You may feel it in that third eye chakra as the mind begins to loosen its grip. And that third eye, that tingling that you may feel in there, that lightheadedness, is the opening of the third eye. You may feel the opening of the crown, and keep with that breath, finding your own pace. The quicker you go, the quicker you will get to that feeling of vibrancy, that energetic flowing. You may already be feeling it in your hands. That tingling feeling may be happening again. The hands are an extension of the heart. And this is your sign too that the heart is opening. So welcome that tingling feeling. And continue on until you feel complete in this mini experience of breath. And there's that gunk. Yes. Mhm. Beautiful. And then let that breath come back when you're ready into a more typical to your everyday being breath pattern. You can breathe again through the nose now. And always, with any practice like this, give yourself some gratitude. Give your body that gratitude that it is able still to take in this breath, this medicine, that you are still able to access spirit in this way. And even in that short time, colors may have come through or images may have come through. Give gratitude to them. Give gratitude to anything that came through, any feelings, any sensations, knowing that this is the heart opening. This is the chakras aligning. This is your medicine in this moment. And when you're ready, just open your eyes and come back into more fully back into your body and into the space. How's that feel, Owen?
It feels really healthily exciting, inspiring, and dangerous. The whole time that session, this is my third session that I've done with Beau, it felt this time as if I was fully flying.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of this release in my hips, I've had some stuck energy, uncomfortable energy in my hips, is I saw you and I flying through the sky, and it's just like really high velocity, really high in the clouds. And there's this feeling of, oh, this is dangerous to be free. This is dangerous to be inspired and to be flying high. And your spirit, your inspiration that you shared was, yes, it is, but it's also exciting. It's also inspirational. And that's just the medicine of the breath. And in Chinese medicine, in Qigong, the breath fuels the water element. So the earth fuels the breath fuels the water element, which is our kidneys, which is our ancestral power, our sexual power, and our bravery. To be truly brave and to be truly healthy in the water element, we need to feel truly free and inspired. And to feel truly free and inspired, we have to feel like we have good foundations to land upon. Trust the earth element. So that's all the messages that come through me. It's just such an honor to work with you every time. It's Breathwork by Beau. Breathwork with Beau is just a gift for anyone who experiences it.
Thank you so much, brother. And the feeling is absolutely mutual. Anytime I'm able to connect with you, and I mean, I feel connected with you always. Truly, I do. But when we have this these exchanges, when we're, see each other face to face, like this, even virtually, I learn so much. I feel so much, and yeah, I really do. Like I feel more free and just pumped up and empowered. And what you said brought through a message that you communicated to me before in the last time that I sat with you for an Akashic record reading, which was. I think it's something that TJ Frank perhaps passed on to you. One of your teachers passed on to you, which is you don't have to be grounded. Like, like there's no law that says you got to stay grounded. You got to stay grounded, right? Like, because if you do have that avian energy, yeah, like there's a version of being grounded, and as you said to me, it's up in a tree, right? Like it's not like that's how you can ground, but like, yeah, feel that, let yourself fly, be up in the air if that's your medicine, if that's your element, and you can still find those connections to all other things, and yeah, and anything that's for your growth, it's gonna feel a little bit dangerous too, right? Like anytime we have to leap into something, there's that element of danger of like, oh God, what's gonna happen? And when we give ourselves to that and lean into that, like, I mean, look what can happen, just the healing and the freedom that we can experience. So yeah.
Absolutely. And the reality is Earth right now at a physical level is a dangerous place. At a spiritual level, actually, at a spiritual level, it is a dangerous place. So you have people like Beau and myself who are willing to help you reach the highest potential of your life through the gifts that we share. And then there's people that want to rip that gift right out of your being. People want to take that from you. People want to take your freedom. People want to take your love. And it's violent, spiritually, violent, physically. This happens at a physical and emotional and metaphysical level. This is a dangerous place, people. And this is why we're so devoted to these arts. It's not because life's heaven and we're trying to show you more about heaven. It's because life is heaven and hell. And if you're not ready, if you're not healed, if you're not strong, somebody could put your face in the mud and take everything you own.
Right.
Like that. And when you can empower yourself, when you can inspire yourself with breathwork, when you can learn more about yourself through oracle readings and meditation, it's harder for you to be moved. It's harder for you to be put in chains because you're so spiritually strong. You're so non-attached to things that could tempt you or things that could bribe you. You're becoming stronger as a soul. And that is my wish for everyone who has good intentions in their heart, is to become not just strong physically, not just strong mentally, but spiritually strong. And when you have that, you'll become more gentle. And that's ultimately the goal, is for us all to achieve this state in humanity where we're so free, we're so loved, we feel so loved, that nobody has to harm each other ever again, because we're already happy. What do I need to do anything besides food, water, shelter myself?
Right.
If I'm already happy and loved. So that's the goal. But right now we have to kind of fight to get there. It's not like the mainstream media and corporate empires are like, yeah, freedom for you. We would love for you to be free, guys. Yeah.
Right.
Stop giving us all your money and stop buying senseless things. Like, they don't want that. Some people don't want that. So we have to become strong and we have to fight through this. This is a spiritual battle that's going on. It is dangerous. And that's the message that really your breathwork session brought through me today. Is it's dangerous, but it's exciting and it's inspiring, and it's a beautiful drama being unfolded as well, this book of life. So embrace it. And when you're ready, take flight and really feel that self-worth, because you are worthy, whoever you are. You have something that makes you you, and you're here because the creator, the Big Bang, the Mother Earth, whatever you want to call him, her, put you here because you're worth it. They wouldn't have created you. The synchronicities of the universe wouldn't have created you if you're not worth it in some way. So feel that and learn that is my message through that breathwork session.
Yes. I mean, love is our birthright. Love is, you were already, this is a message that always comes through to me too. Like, you were loved before coming here. Like, before you had a body, you were loved. And the only thing that this life has done, that this body has done, the thing that the body can do, because it just feeds in, it can feed into the illusion of separation, that we are separate from love. And it's false. The truth is that we are love itself, and you can come back home to that understanding anytime you're ready.
I think at that point, at that pinnacle, at that climax, that'll be the end of today's episode for Tea and Chi. It is the end of my tea as well. I've been doing this thing recently where when my tea is finished, the episode is finished. So that's a very, very Zen, synchronized, good feeling thing. So thank you so much all for joining and watching us today. Thank you, Beau, for being here, and just big love to everyone who joined in on this experience that has come through Chi, Universal Life Force, and T. Like a lot of people have been shouting out Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So cheers to Uncle Iroh, the Sage of Fire.
Love it. Cheers. Thank you so much, brother.
Wow, that was excellent.
All right.
Loved that.
We'll stop recording.
Oh my God, it made, oh, I